Joel, we're going to dive in and talk about your alma mater, Colorado. You've got Travis going number 1. The other news is that Colorado is retired. Ranked number 1. God darn it. It's the big board, not the draft.
Sorry, Joel.
I'm sorry, the big board.
Can't be trusted.
Okay, sorry.
You're fine.
Travis is ranked number 1, and I'm trying to get this news in, too.
Yeah, well, this
Colorado is retiring his number 1. I was trying to make that work.
Yeah.
Also retiring Shedeur's number. What is your take on the Buffaloes retiring the numbers?
Man, not a good look.
Thank you.
Thank
you, Joel.
And I don't know of anybody anywhere that has been a more staunch supporter of what has gone on at Colorado. You know, I am, and still am, by the way, because what they have done and what Coach Prime has brought, what Shedeur brought to the table and turned around this program is really unprecedented, because they were awful. 2 years ago, they were 1-11, and they lost those 11 games by basically an average of 30 points. You know, and then they just won 9 games and finished in the top 25 and had a Heisman Trophy winner, and they're going to have a first-round quarterback. So, like, I get it. I think that the argument from their side, and by the way, this did not come from Dion. This has to get signed off by the athletic director. I talked to him today, told him that I didn't agree with this, and he said, listen, this guy, Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter, changed the trajectory of our program. They saved our program in a lot of ways, and I understand that from their perspective, and there's certainly a lot of national awards. I just think that it cheapens what you're actually trying to do. You're trying to honor Shedeur Sanders. You're trying to honor Travis Hunter. And the only one that all of us are going to be like, well, yeah, I get that, is Travis, because he won the Heisman.
That's right.
With Shedeur, from the outside looking in, it's way too easy to say, like, would this happen if he had a different name on his back? And I think that's what then becomes a disservice to Shedeur. You're trying to honor him, and yet it's just going to bring more questions. And then, by the way, 9 days before the draft, when the narrative surrounding him and the questions from some of the front offices in the NFL are going to be about, does he think he's bigger than our organization? Does his family think that he's bigger than our organization? So to throw this, little nuclear bomb 9 days before the draft, it perpetuates that narrative, which also does him a disservice. So I don't agree with it. That's kind of all I have to say.
So listen, if I can just back you up on this for a moment, and it's easy for me to say this. I got no connection to the University of Colorado except I'm friends with Joel Klatt. Joel Klatt's a Colorado great. And
my phone's literally buzzing.
Yeah, we're kind of putting you in a tough spot, but you have take integrity, which we respect. The Travis thing's varies. I remember going to Ohio State with Chris Carter, and I asked him if his jersey was retired. And I don't want to misquote him, but I think his answer at the time was no, they only retire Heisman Trophy winners or something like 4-time All-American, something. And it was they had rules.
Yeah, there was a precedent.
There's a precedent. So Travis, it's like, all right, we've retired one number in the last 50 years. It was Rashaan Salaam because he won the Heisman. Travis won the Heisman. The Shedeur thing, even though he won the Davey O'Brien, all these other things, it puts him in a weird spot. Plus, I mean, listen, Cordell's number's not retired. Joel Klatt's number's not retired. Like, come on, give me a break. All right, speaking of Shedeur, now to get everyone back on your side with Colorado, you have him ranked ahead of Cam Ward. Why is he, in your eyes, better than Cam Ward?
Well, let me start by saying I love them both. I think Cam's an excellent player. He attacks every blade of grass on the field, and he does it with like an unburdened, confidence. So I do like Cam a lot. Shedeur is just a little bit more polished in my estimation. Shedeur was asked to do exactly what he's going to be asked to do at the NFL level, which is, one, run an offense in which he's got to control the game and manipulate the game from the pocket post-snap. That's rare in college football. In college football, here's what we have, guys. We have a lot of designed wins, pre-snap wins where the quarterback knows exactly where the ball is going to go before it's snapped, leverage throws, ratio throws, and that does them a bit of disservice. That was not the case with Shedeur. He was asked to control the game and read things out and make decisions post-snap. Now, at times, that led to him getting hit quite a bit because they played behind a papier-mâché offensive line. But he can certainly do that. And then he's got these two traits, guys, that I'm just enamored with. One is he's surgical when he does get time. When he's on time and on target, man, there's nobody better. He fits the ball in a shoebox. and he can attack defenses regardless of what they're in. And then he's got this equal parts surgical and then magician where he can get himself in a position to make a play. Even with the rush around him, he can manipulate and move. There's like a Roethlisberger quality and a Fran Tarkenton quality to the way that he moves around. Maybe not as a threat with his legs, but certainly creating enough space in order to hurt the defense down the field with his arm. Those are the reasons why I think Shedeur is going to be really good. And by the way, very rarely do you say, like, I think that this guy is underrated going into the NFL, and it's partly because the narrative is everything else outside of his game. His game translates. He's going to go somewhere, and I think he's going to succeed.
All right, I want to stay with quarterbacks for follow-up here. I know your big board doesn't have it like this, but some people are talking about there being multiple first-round quarterbacks and maybe even one of them going ahead of Shedeur. Do you see another? Jackson Dart, you have Wright on the edge of as far, 32 is ranked players, 32 first-round picks. Do you think using a first-round pick on Dart makes sense? Is there any other quarterback you think that might be worth a first-round pick, paying a premium for the position?
That's a good question. No, I don't think that there's another one that could sneak in. If someone does, if a third quarterback does, Nick, it will be Jackson Dart. I do not buy this narrative and this smoke that he is going to be selected above Shedeur Sanders. I don't buy that at all. You can't watch the tape and come away with that conclusion. In large respect, because of what I was talking about college offenses versus pro offenses, manipulating the pocket and commanding the field, owning the field in a post-snap arena versus a pre-snap arena. What Lane Kiffin does is he designs winners, and he does it as well as anybody, but the ball is rarely held past 1.5 seconds, maybe 2 seconds, and there's very rarely the second, third, fourth man in the progression getting the football. That's not a knock on Dart. That's just the reality of what he was asked to do at Ole Miss, and he did it really well. Here's where I think he could sneak into the first round. If we have 3 quarterbacks taken in the first round, it would be because the following scenario plays out. Cleveland and New York pass on Shedeur with the second and third pick, which leaves him available for a team like New Orleans at 9 or even Pittsburgh back into the 20s. But then remember, Cleveland and New York, they cannot go without a quarterback in one of their first 2 picks. So then all of a sudden, those 2 teams would be sitting in the beginning of the second round thinking to themselves, boy, do I want to take my chances and wait until night 2, or do I think I need to jump into the back end of night 1 in the back end of the first round and potentially trade with, I don't know, Buffalo, Kansas City, Philadelphia late in the first round, and potentially select Jackson Dart and secure their quarterback, which they desperately need, both of those franchises. So that's the scenario that I think Jackson Dart gets selected in the first round. I don't know if it'll happen or not, but that's what would have to happen.
Joel, what are your thoughts on the quarterback, Nico? I'm not going to butcher his last name, down in Kansas City.
Oh, I almost tried.
Yeah. I mean, this is a bad situation. Tell us your thoughts.
Okay, so you're referring to Nico Iamaleava at Tennessee, and the news is that he's demanding more money. Tennessee said no and pound sand, and now he's leaving. I'm here to tell you, there's a lot more to that story. That is a narrative being pushed. And think about it. This makes sense. He's a 21-year-old kid, and now he's alone and teamless with no PR behind him whatsoever. Meanwhile, the University of Tennessee has their entire apparatus and fan base against this kid. Of course, this is the narrative that's going to be pushed, but I'm here to tell you there's always more to the story. Now, did he demand more money, him or his people? Probably. Did he also, I've been told, ask that the offense grow a little bit because of what I was just discussing about the draft process for quarterbacks going into the NFL? Yes, he did. And I think he was unhappy. I think his people and his team were unhappy with the way that spring ball was going, in particular seeing that the offense was not changing and was not growing. This is the old Art Briles Baylor offense that Tennessee uses. No quarterback has really succeeded going from that offense and into the National Football League. So there was some discussion about this growth of the offense that I don't feel like they thought took place. So there's more to this story than just money. There always is. And unfortunately for him, he's being pitted as the villain in the story. Now, did he ask for more money? Probably, likely. Who's the real villain in this story, though? See, Brew, let's really talk about, Is it Tennessee? No. Is it Josh Heupel? No. Is it the Boosters? No. Is it Nico Iamaleava? No. It is the NCAA.
Yes.
They abdicated their responsibility to govern the sport. Now, some would argue that that was taken from them by the courts and the ever litigious nature of what's gone on in intercollegiate athletics over the last decade. Fine, that's fair, but let's remember, Tennessee made this bed that now they're sleeping in, because when they were recruiting Nico Iamaleava, there was some supposed infractions with him and others in their NIL space. And when they got a notice of allegations from the NCAA, they sued the NCAA and said, you have no jurisdiction here. We'll just take you to court and we'll sue you right back. So what did the NCAA do? They threw up a white flag and they said, you know what? We're going to send a memo to every member institution and say that we have no jurisdiction and we will no longer enforce NIL rules nor try to enforce them. So Tennessee, in a respect, created the void that is now being exploited by one of their star players. Do I fault him for it? No, I don't. Do I like it? No. This is the growing pains, though, of a sport that's trying to get to a place that is better for all parties. It's going to be better for players, by the way, when we move forward and we have a CBA and their movement is limited a little bit. That's going to be better for them. So I think a CBA would also allow them to enter into relationships with agents that are registered rather than all of these shady agents that are from all over the place. So we can protect players, we can protect schools, and these are the growing pains that we're going to go through to get there. But the real villain in this story is the NCAA. Yeah. For decades upon decades, they sat there and did nothing. When the Olympics changed their model, when the Dream Team went to Barcelona, what did the NCAA do? Nothing. They never budged until they were forced over the cliff by the courts. That's why we're in this situation.
Now, I agree with you 100% on the NCAA. How good is Nico? And if I've heard him called a Heisman Trophy candidate, if he is on that level, it seems like there are going to be a ton of schools going after him.
You would think. I think that there will be. Listen, he's a very good player. There's no doubt. Dylan Sampson, their running back, was largely responsible for their offensive production. Nico underperformed in some big games, in particular late. I'm thinking of like the Arkansas game. Didn't play well against Ohio State. That's at least what their side is going to say, is that they're going to be just fine. I personally believe so, because it's a spring transfer portal window. He can't go to the SEC and be eligible next year. Okay, so he's got to go outside of the SEC. That's number one. And do you really want to go to a conference that's not the Big Ten or the SEC? Likely not, because those other schools and conferences probably don't have the budget.
He's in a dome. I mean, come on. Great football history. Back when Colorado was winning national championships, Syracuse up there. Come on, Q. Come on.
Jim Brown?
Fran Brown trying to get a spring game with your school. Come on, Joel. We could start this right now.
We could, and you just lost your best wide receiver to the portal today.
Well, maybe he'd come back. Maybe he'd come back. Maybe he'd come back.
I believe Tabor Pena is his name. Good player. But maybe, listen, I'm not going to put it out of the realm of possibility, Nick. Okay, I'll give you that. But I would suggest that I think that Southern California is probably, not USC, but just Southern California. UCLA or USC are probably in the catbird seat, because they're going to have the budget, and this is where he's from.
Last question, Joel, about my Patriots. If Cam is gone, well, the quarterbacks, if just Cam goes and Shedeur slides, so Travis goes and Abdul Carter goes.
Ooh. That's the worst case scenario for the
I know
Patriots.
That's the issue. I'm a Will Campbell fan. I'm a fan, and everyone's talking about his arms. I don't care about his arms. It's a reach. I get. That's not funny. Okay, guy's got short arms.
You reach on purpose.
Not funny.
So what should they do?
Trade down. They should trade.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Geez.
If they can't get Abdul or Travis, they should trade. The best possible scenario for them, I think, is if Cam goes, then some combination of Abdul and Shedeur go.
Yeah.
And Travis Hunter is sitting there. Because Travis, like, he fits, because you give Drake May a legitimate weapon. And you can be creative with this guy on defense. His instincts are off the charts, guys. And I will tell you this. Did you guys hear the news? I'm sure you're up against a break, so bear with me for a moment. Have you heard the news that Travis is like, listen, if I don't play both ways, I might just not play?
Yeah.
He's dead serious about that. Do you know how I know he's dead serious? Because as the #1 ranked recruit in the country, he went to Jackson State. Why did he go to Jackson State? Because that's the only place that told him, yeah, you can come here and play both ways.
Oh,
wow.
Well, I think the Browns are going to let him play both ways.
No.
You're just getting Wild's hopes up.
Mike Vrabel?
I don't
know. He caught 2 touchdowns in the Super Bowl. Troy Brown, Julian Edelman play a little defense. Joel, thank you very much.
You're the best. Thank you.
Draft 9 days
Appreciate
away.
You guys.
Yeah.
We got to find a way to do this during the fall.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Well, yeah.
I'm down.
By the way, in poker, we call that verbal commitment. So you're in. So I don't know. Like that.
Even outside the poker world.
No, Nick. Remember, I live in the college space. You know, our word. You know, I can. Just
your word means nothing.
Yeah.
I get it. Okay.
Moving around.
Yeah. All right. Well,
Joel's
whatever.
just constantly in the portal. He'll be working for CBS. Yeah, no clue. Just in the portal. Like Joel's in the portal. Thank you, Joel. See you later.
You got it, boys.
See you, Joel.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.